What is up? Welcome back to Mind Your Hormones. I can't wait to talk to you about this topic because I'm super passionate about it because I have such a history with this. So many of my clients do. And I know that maybe you specifically are going to resonate with this. And what we're talking about is when you go and get blood work from your OBGYN, from your fertility doctor, from whoever you are working with, and everything comes back normal. And you're like, what the hell is going on? I don't have a period. I'm not able to get pregnant. I'm just consistently gaining weight. I have all this facial hair growth. I have all this acne. Like all this stuff is going on. Either maybe your period is totally missing or it's really heavy, like whatever it is. And they're like, no, everything is normal. Like it seems to be a normal range as like you're good to go. And you're left feeling completely crazy and like you are just meant to live this way. And this is just how your body works. Now, if you can resonate with that, I totally understand because this was my experience for so long. So if you're familiar with my story, I had an irregular period literally since the day I got it. I got my period when I was like 15 and a half years old. It was January. I think it was in January when I got it. I didn't get it again until maybe that summer. And then it would come a couple times a year, like maybe every 6 weeks or every 6 months. Like there was literally no pattern to it at all. And I did not think it was a big deal because my doctor at the time was like, well, as long as you're getting 3 periods a year, like you're good to go. It's totally fine. So I was like, okay, cool. Like that's great. I'm probably getting about 3 a year. So like, that's great. I don't need to worry about it. And I wasn't trying to get pregnant at the time. So didn't think that it was a big deal. And I just thought this was my normal. I'm like, this is just how my period is. So obviously I got blood work and stuff done, especially once I started experiencing other symptoms. Like on top of my irregular period, I was having monthly migraines, like debilitating migraines where I would have to lay down, and even laying down was horrible because it was painful. Like I couldn't see any light. If you've ever experienced a migraine, you know how horrible it is. I was getting body rashes and random acne. I was gaining weight, even though I was working out a ton and quote unquote eating healthy and doing all the things. I had a lot of digestive issues, like really bloated, constipated, like it was all the things were happening. So I started looking into it and getting blood work done. And every time I got blood work, everything came back normal. They're like, nope, your testosterone isn't high enough for it to be PCOS, because that was something that I was concerned about. And they're like, you don't have enough cysts on your ovaries for it to be PCOS. So this was always the response that I would get. And spoiler alert, I do have PCOS. So that was all bullshit. But the point of this is, if you are someone who has any type of symptom that we're talking about, like I said, whether your period is totally missing, it's irregular, it's really heavy, it's painful, you are not able to lose weight or maintain a healthy weight, you're not ovulating, you're not able to get pregnant, whatever is going on and your blood work is coming back normal, I need you to know that you're not crazy, because I am such a firm believer that I don't care if what your blood work says. I don't care if your blood work says everything is normal. If you are coming to me with these symptoms, there is a deeper problem going on. There is a hormonal balance that is not being addressed, regardless of what your blood work says, because you cannot be boiled down to a number, and that's not normal for those things to be happening. So how could your blood work be normal? And the reason why it'll say it's normal is for a few different reasons. Number one could be the timing that you actually got the blood work done. There are specific hormones, sex hormones, that need to be tested at specific times in your cycle. And if they're just tested whenever, because your doctor didn't tell you like, oh, you have to get your progesterone tested at least a week after ovulation if you're ovulating, or, oh, it's best to get estrogen tested on day 3 of your cycle. Like if they don't tell you these things, you just get everything tested all at once, the numbers are not going to be actually accurate. So that's one issue with it. The second thing is that there's a very big difference between normal ranges and optimal ranges. And regular OBGYNs and doctors, they're just looking at what will be flagged, like when you get your report back, what will be flagged as either the lower range or the higher range. If it falls in that quote unquote normal range, they don't look into it. And the normal range is just the average number of all the people that are getting tested. And if you live in America, at least, we do not have a very healthy country. So those numbers are very, very wide, and those normal ranges are extremely wide. And they are not the ranges that we want to be in to actually thrive, to get pregnant, to feel our best, and to not just survive. So we want to look at optimal ranges. But again, unfortunately, let's like quite, I don't want to say regular doctors, but regular doctors aren't going to look at that. You really have to go to a functional medicine doctor or a naturopath to actually see the blood work, not only to see the actual optimal ranges and they'll let you know, but they also test for a lot more things like nutrient and mineral deficiencies. That's a whole nother thing too. If you're just getting your sex hormones tested, you're missing so many things to the puzzle, because you could have a mineral or nutrient deficiency that's affecting these sex hormones. So it's just so ridiculous that we go get these tests. And of course you want to go and get blood work. And I'm not saying not to get blood work done, because it can be important. Of course, things that can come up that are really off and be flagged. And it's really important to know that where your levels are. But I'm talking to the person who feels like they're crazy because they know something is going on in their body, but their blood work is telling them differently. So a few things I want to go over is, number one, I want you to trust yourself, because I know how frustrating it is to feel like you are absolutely nuts, like your body is broken, and that it's just how you're meant to live. Okay. You know, if something is off in your body, so don't let blood work or anybody else tell you differently. Like, go seek out additional support, know that you're not crazy, and really, really trust yourself. The other thing is, if you are having any of these symptoms, like we talked about, regular period, not able to conceive, your energy is low, you're not able to gain weight, or you're not able to gain weight or lose weight, you have acne or facial hair growth or PMS symptoms, like any of this stuff, and your blood work is normal, one or more of these things is actually off that might not have been shown on your blood work. Number one, your blood sugar could be dysregulated. Number two, you could have inflammation going on in your body. Number three, nutrient or mineral deficiencies, like we talked about before. Number four, your nervous system can be dysregulated. You could have like HPA axis dysfunction, which is the fancy way of saying adrenal fatigue. And number five, your liver is not properly detoxifying. These things, what I need you to know is that these 5 areas have to be working optimally in our body in order for just your body to work properly, and to then transfer to your hormones then working properly. Because if any of these areas are off, your body as a whole cannot do what it needs to do just in daily life. Obviously, you're still living, you're still walking around, so you're fine. But again, you don't want to survive, you want to thrive. And then obviously it's going to affect your hormones, because your sex hormones and your non-sex hormones, because your hormones are connected to everything. They're chemical messengers that are traveling through your bloodstream. So wherever you've got blood going, you've got hormones going. And there are hormones that are not sex hormones, like your insulin levels and your cortisol levels, but they do affect your sex hormones because everything in your body is connected. We cannot look at things as separate, like, oh, just my cortisol level is off, so let me just focus on that. Or just my progesterone level is off, let me just focus on that. That is not going to work. And this is why so many people struggle for so long, especially with the normal blood work, and why I wasted years of time not having a period, because I just thought it was normal, it was fine, and it wasn't, because I wasn't looking at these deeper areas. These 5 areas are, I'm always, if you've listened to this podcast before, you've probably heard me talk about this 700 times. And I want this to be something that's literally ingrained in your head, because these are the areas that are going to make a difference no matter what your blood work is saying, no matter what hormone is off. It has to be in place, because if your blood sugar is dysregulated, that is affecting a top tier hormone, your insulin. And if your insulin is off, it's going to affect everything else. Same thing with inflammation. If you have inflammation in your body is not going to be able to function optimally. It's going to affect your gut, and your gut is connected to literally every single area of your body. It's where you expel excess hormones out of your body. It's where they could be recirculated back in. It's where you absorb nutrients. Like, everything happens in the gut. If you have nutrient deficiencies, obviously your body is only going to be able to prioritize what it needs to literally keep your heart beating and keep you breathing. And it's not going to go to anything else. So if you are already deficient in certain nutrients, it's going to definitely turn off your ovulation and anything reproductive hormone related, because that's not needed for your survival. If your nervous system is off and your body is in constant fight or flight mode, or your cortisol levels are all jacked up, your body, again, is going to turn off your sex hormones, or it's going to negatively impact them, because your body thinks that you're like literally getting chased by a tiger, or thinks that it is not a safe time for you to have a baby. So it's going to just shut everything else down. Whether you want to have a baby or not, it doesn't matter. Your body doesn't know the difference. If your liver isn't working properly, that is where we metabolize and process all our excess hormones, toxins, metabolic waste. If we can't process those things out, our hormones and the metabolic waste and toxins are going to get recirculated back into our body. So like these areas are so important. These are why these are the 5 modules in the Mind Your Hormones method and why it's so effective no matter what your imbalance is. When you come into this, when you commit to this process, when you commit to these 5 areas, you are going to improve. It's literally impossible not to, like literally impossible. I've never worked with someone who hasn't had at least one, usually by the time they come and work with me, all of these areas are off. And that was my experience too, because again, all of this is connected. So maybe it started with inflammation, but it turned into then blood sugar dysregulation and then nutrient deficiencies. And it all goes hand in hand because when one area is negatively affected, it affects other things. But the positive side of that is when you positively improve one area of your health, it positively improves every other area of your health because it's all connected. Okay. So if you're listening to this and you're connecting with this, I want you to do one of 2 things or both. I have a free training that is teaching you how to create hormone balanced meals. And it's a training I pulled straight from one of the modules in the Mind Your Hormones method, the very first one on how to regulate your blood sugar. Because like we just talked about, this is one of the most important things that you could do. So I pulled this training from that module in the Mind Your Hormones method so you can get access to it for free. So you could learn how to create meals that are going to help balance your blood sugar. This is so vital for you to actually know how to do and master. And it's going to make such a huge difference. Literally just this one training. Like, please don't let this be another free training that you download and sits in your email and you don't do anything about it, because it is going to change the game for you. There's no fluff in it. Literally, it comes from a paid program. So fluff does not exist. Even my free content, hello, this podcast, there is no fluff. Okay. So you know how it is. There's also a video tutorial in there of me making a hormone balancing smoothie so you can see how I do it. Like, it is really, really in depth. So highly recommend checking that out. That is a amazing first step to take, and you are going to notice a difference no matter what is actually going on with you. And then secondly, obviously, if you're interested in diving deeper into this, then look in the show notes for the information on the Mind Your Hormones method, because that is obviously where we're diving into all of this, and the root cause is going to be healed, like everything's going down. So just check the show notes for that. But I know some people aren't interested in diving into a full course. It's just not something that's feasible for you right now, which is why I have this free training available, and obviously this podcast as well for you too. Okay, so go check those out. Those are in the show notes. And then the third thing is this isn't me saying not to get blood work done, because I do think it is important sometimes to get blood work, but I just want you to understand that it's not showing you the whole picture. You cannot be boiled down to numbers. You're not crazy. If things are coming off that are normal and you know things aren't normal, find a different doctor, go to a naturopath, go to a functional medicine doctor, join the Mind Your Hormones method. Like, there are so many other things that you could be doing that are actually going to heal the root cause of your symptoms. And even if you don't get blood work done, it doesn't matter. The symptoms you are being presented with, the symptoms your body is giving you as a way to communicate with you, that is what matters, because that's how your body talks to you. So I hope this resonated with you. I know that it's going to resonate with a lot of you, because so many of you reach out to me and this is your experience. So if this does resonate with you, please let me know. I love hearing from you. Share this with a friend who maybe is going through some kind of similar experience. Make sure you check out the show notes for the free training and for more information on the Mind Your Hormones method if you're ready to like fully dive in. But I love you so much. I'm so grateful you're here, and I hope you have an amazing rest of your day, and I'll talk to you soon.